finished my draft. Finally. So this is it. I have 2 titles. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet. So whenever I finish the first draft, I think I'll have a better title I want to go with. So NaNoWriMo was the best decision I ever made. I am extremely happy I did it because I don't think I would have finished the first draft because I was procrastinating. I also didn't really think I was going to write this much. The intention was to write 1 short story. Now I have a collection of short stories. So what made me want to write a short story in the first, I always wanted to write a short story, but what really motivated me is to go with the Caribbean romance is my great-grandmother. So there was always these stories I've heard. Some I think a bit mischievous because I don't think nobody in the family really knows. So it's in my head. I've always had this wild imagination of how things change in her life. I didn't write about it, but I used bits and pieces of stories from her life to inspire me for the first story. So that's how the first story came about. And then eventually I started digging into other things that I wanted to write about, other experiences I wanted to write. And I had these crazy dreams. I'm one of those people that had those dreams and got up and wrote notes and went with the dream. And things I imagined would be and could have been that kind of, situation. And I wrote about it. And I kept it very authentic. So there are some Jamaican dialogue in here. It's not heavy because, I want someone who doesn't understand patois to be able to read it. So, but they are sprinkled in the stories. I initially signed up for NaNoWriMo. And I wasn't sure I was going to do it. And thanks to Dee Dee for Brown Girls Reading, who gave me that extra push. And I'm glad I did it. It's a great feeling when you get to that first draft. It feels so good. I almost feel like I could have cried because I'm like, oh my God, I got to the first draft. And it is a lot of work that I have to do, which is why I'm doing an outline. Nothing fancy, but I jot down things I want to focus on for the second draft. Things I want to make sure that I didn't miss, or if I wanted to a little bit more detail. And also I had to do a little bit of research because I use some of the Lovers Rock era. And if you are familiar with reggae, you know the Lovers Rock era, and which is a sexy era. If you ever see those songs and how people were, it was sexy. And I love that, but I had to dig in a little bit. So to make sure that, I give a taste of it where people were like, yeah, that's sexy. I had to do that. So, also, it is a bit of, I would say the romance. It's not erotic. There are some sexy moments where it can be borderline. But I didn't want it to be overly sexual. I wanted romance, not necessarily sex. So I did pipe down a little bit on that to focus on the romance and how these characters connect and the struggles that brought them together or the struggle that pulled them apart. So I did that. Also, I wanted to focus on romance as far as a Jamaican novel per se, because there's so much negative things. There's so much things that's focused on like the thriller aspect or something terrible, that it's not a lot of romance, Caribbean romance that's out there. So not a lot. And we have romance. We live on a beautiful island. Well, I used to live on a beautiful island. And there is so many elements of the island that's so romantic, that can pull people together, that can make people relax and get through the tough times. And I wanted that in my stories. So that's the other reason why I was driven to do this. Now, I am going to work my butt off. I'm going to make sure to get to the second draft and, and fix that, what needs to be fixed. Every sentence I'm going to be combing through and, check. With that, I also know I need to do my research as far as getting a proper editor when I have my best work in my hand and I'm ready to give it to a professional editor. It has to be somebody who's familiar with Jamaican dialogue. It has to be somebody who's familiar with some of our cultural things, because they need to know when it's an error and when that's just how we would talk. And so that's what's going to be the challenge. I'm not just going to just give it to anybody just to be my editor just because you said you are a great editor. You might be a great editor, but if you're not familiar with any kind of Caribbean dialogue or Caribbean writing, you're going to struggle with giving me the best. So I have to do my research. I have to make sure that I have an editor who really and truly knows how to edit a Caribbean literature. So that's going to be my challenge. And once I get to that point, it's the other stuff that goes along. I am not big fan of the politics and everything that goes on with publishing, but I know that if I wanted to see the world, that I have to make sure I'm prepared for the pros and the cons, and what decision and what route I need to take as far as this book goes. So that's going to be in the back of my head for now. But for now, my concentration is on the editing, is to make sure that I'm giving the best word, that make sure that I'm writing something that makes sense and people don't understand what the hell I wrote. So, and that is it. So, yeah, I'm still going at it. I'm going to take about 3 weeks, maybe a month. I think I'm going to take the rest of the month off. I'm probably going to pick this book up in January. This is going to be like the beginning of January is back into this, because I want to relax. And I want, when I go back in it, it feels like a fresh start, because I'm so wrapped up in the story in my mind. Like, I'm still thinking about certain characters now, and I want to be able to, like, when I open back, it's like a fresh look on the characters. So that is it. I would say if you are interested in writing your story, NaNoWriMo is a good thing to do. I mean, it's past now, but you can start writing, but it really does push you. It really is an amazing writing process. And, there's a lot of people that do it. It's not just the little people like me. There are people who have had numerous amount of books published who does NaNoWriMo every year. So, yeah. That is it, guys. Ah! Oh my God. It feels good, guys. Feels good. Anyway, back to this. Gotta get my characters together, my names together. That was a struggle, guys. The names, because I didn't have some of these names already pre-planned, so coming up with names was a little bit of a struggle at first. And I think I might have duplicated one of the names twice in two of the stories, which I need to fix. So, yeah. So I'm doing these outline where I'm putting the characters, the plot, location for each story. And like certain elements of the story that I had, I'm going to make sure that I do my little research to make sure that that place still exists, because I had stuff from my childhood that I added, and I'm not sure these places exist. The last time I was in Jamaica, But you know, I do have family members still there, so definitely I'm putting them to work to have them look up some stuff for me. And I have a few friends that are Jamaican that's going to Jamaica in a few weeks, so they're gonna do a little bit of stuff for me as well. So yeah. Yeah, guys. So thanks for watching and have a good day. Bye.